Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here and welcome back to the railway and welcome back to another review which I've been really excited about, as I always seem to be anyway. And this time it's the lovely LMS Crab locomotive, and they were 260 mixed traffic locomotives built between 1926 and 1932 to the design of Mr. George Hughes, and there was quite a lot of these produced, 245 in total, originating from the LMS of course, and they earned themselves the nickname Crabs. Supposedly there are two possible reasons for this. First of all, the positioning of their outside cylinders, which apparently resemble a crab's pincers, I suppose. And secondly, because of this scuttling sensation that you supposedly feel if you're on the footplate while they're working hard. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never heard a locomotive described as scuttling before. So perhaps the crab is the first one ever. But yeah, they were fairly successful engines. And the entire class, in fact, survived until 1961, but after that all but three were scrapped. But those three luckily are in preservation, which is brilliant news. But anyway, yeah, here is today's engine then, and it is in that slightly older Bachmann packaging, as you can see. But once again, you will find that it is absolutely fantastically modern, and as you can see there, it's the blue ribboned range, which as far as I know means it's just sort of the cream of their crop, the really top of the range model from there. And as you can see, we haven't got a lot of information on the front here, it just says Model Railways, so I think we gathered that. But let's have a look on the end of the box. First of all, you can see a label there which has the date on it, quite interestingly, 4th of the 5th 2005, so that makes it just over 10 years old. And also there you've got the product code 32-179 and then crab 42942, which presumably is the running number. BR lined black, early emblem, weathered. And yeah, this model is weathered, which is pretty cool, and you'll see when we get her out just how nice that weathering is. But yeah, let's open the box and see if we can't get her out then. I had a real struggle to get this box open the first time. Right, so yeah, that's the little, oops, hello, we've got some more stuff coming out there. That just says crab on it. Again, it's pretty minimal, isn't it? But you have got a nice illustration there, as you can see, of the locomotive. Oh, and there is a brief history on the back of that as well, and you can read that if you'd like to. That's quite nice that they've done that, I suppose. It's very nice. And also what we have here is what looks like the exploded diagram of the model, which you can, you know, use to take the model apart if you ever need to, but hopefully you won't have to, because they're fairly reliable, aren't they? But still, you never know. And we've got this, the guarantee, which looks like the guarantee. Yeah, I've not filled it in though, unfortunately, but it wasn't mine from the start, so I don't imagine there's much point. And then you've also got the little Collector's Club card there, which is pretty nice. And I'll just check there's nothing else still inside the box. Oh no, not you. Right, we'll see you later. Off you go. Honestly, it's a pain he is. And before we get the loco out, I'll just show you the little detail pack. And I say little, it is quite compact, but there is an awful lot in there, which is really nice. And yeah, I can see some chain link couplings, some steps, and all sorts of other things. So yeah, very useful that is. But still, yeah, let's get the loco out then. It's a bit hard to do this because there is a hole in the back, but it's no easier. Anyway, there she is, beautiful 260 of course, and you can see just how fantastic that weathering looks. I'll give you a better look at her in just a moment, but I'll get the tender for you. And it is very, very heavy, by the way. I forgot to mention that. It really does weigh a lot, which is exactly what you want, of course. And let's get that tender out. And as you can see, here she is. I don't know if we call a tender a she, I don't know, would you? And yeah, as you can see, that's been really nicely weathered as well. Fantastic looking tender, not a lot of coal in there, so we won't be going far with her today. Not really, we'll get her running. But yeah, that's it, that's the tender. It looks very nice, and of course, if I can couple it up to the loco, hang on. There we go, and they look pretty nice together. Quite far apart, loco and tender, but I suppose that means it will handle the curves nicely. But yeah, anyway, let's get this up onto the white background, and we'll give her a run and see how she does. Alright, let's do it. So there she is up against the white background, looking absolutely fantastic, I think. And for me especially, it's not very often that I do buy weathered locos, so that makes this model all the more impressive for me. And as I said earlier, despite this being, you know, a reasonably older loco, the detail is absolutely fantastic, and it's fairly modern. You know, it's got the NEM couplings, it's got the sprung buffers, whatever. It's really, really detailed. But first let's take a quick look at the livery, which is of course slightly weathered by the factory weathering there, but you have still got this beautiful BR black with the red stripes across the boiler there, and there's also a hint of a red stripe which goes over the sort of main plate of the locomotive, and there's also a sign of that red lining also on the actual pistons or on the valve chests there, which is a really nice touch. And I particularly like the side of the cab here because the weathering is sort of in a gradient, so it's sort of worse at the bottom and it sort of fades away a little bit up at the top. So it's really as though dirt has been kicked up by the wheels and has dirtied the bottom, which I suppose is the idea, but for me I think that's pretty nice. Okay, so what have we got on the side of the cab then? You've got the running number at 42952, and then the 5, which presumably is the power rating, and of course that is all circled, well, bordered by that lovely red and gold stripe that you see so often on these BR liveries. And just above there you can see there is a glazed window there, which is a very nice touch, and of course the whole area is enhanced by a couple of rivets, which looks really nice. And the whole thing is really well detailed in terms of separately fitted parts as well. On this side, it's only on this side, but we have this sort of handrail which ends there, and on this side we have the pipe work here with a little bit of plumbing on the end, but on the other side we have another handrail which goes sort of along where that pipe would be, and I can show you that. So now you're seeing the opposite side of the loco, but yeah, back to this side, you can see the whole thing is really nicely moulded. You've got lots of detailing around the firebox, and also if we look on the main plate there's a few turning wheels and other sorts of moulded parts. And while we're on the side, if we take a look at all of the connecting rods and the linkage and the valves, it's so sophisticated, it really is, and it really looks quite fine scaled, and of course it's all nicely weathered as well, which is very nice indeed. And if we take a quick look around the front, you can see the running number there on the front of the smoke box door, as well as a little separately fitted handrail there, which is pretty nice to see. And you've also got lamp irons, of course, on there just above the buffer beam. And on the buffer beam itself, you can see we have some nicely weathered but also sprung buffers. There you go, little demonstration for you there. And also you can see the little LMS logo there, just on the front there. I don't know if you can read it, maybe the weathering has stopped you reading it perhaps, I'm not sure. But yeah, anyway, let's take a quick look at the roof of the cab then. Again, it's very, very well riveted. As you can see, loads of rivets there, and there's also that little, I don't know, it's like an extruded piece where the air intake would presumably be. Not seen that before, I don't think. That's very interesting. And of course we have the whistle there, which is a nice cast piece as always from Bachmann, and also two little safety valves on the top there, which is nice. So yeah, that's the loco. Let's just have a quick look inside the cab, and the cab detail's very, very good actually. It isn't painted unfortunately, as this loco must have been produced just before they started painting them, but generally it is a pretty good cab, and if you wanted to paint that I'm sure it would look great. Let's just have a fleeting look at the tender then. Of course the weathering is consistent on there as well, and it looks absolutely gorgeous, and just look at all those rivets. I think perhaps if anything the weathering brings out the rivets, it makes you see them a lot better. Fantastic. And if we take a closer look there, you can see the early BR crest with the British Railways text on the front there, very, very nicely applied. It looks so realistic as well, and of course that's all bordered with the same red and gold stripe, and of course on the tender you've got all the handrails and the different separately fitted parts, and on the back there's some lamp irons as well, and other separately fitted parts, as well as plenty of rivets and some more printing on there. I can see some LMS, I can see the number 3500 on one of those badges. Really, really nice. And let's have a quick look at the undercarriage, because again the combination of the really nice moulding and of course the weathering makes it look very realistic. So you can see all the rivets there and the springs and suspension. It looks great. And if we take a look at the top, as I noted earlier, there isn't much coal in there, but that's pretty nice because it means there's no need to remove it, and if you wanted to put your own in there, you could do, but if you didn't want to, it would still look just fine. But as you can see, moulded detail, really, really nice all over there. Yep, just NEM couplings as well on the back and on the front, which is a nice modern touch. So yeah, that's the loco. Absolutely gorgeous. She really, really is. And the weathering really makes this one look a lot more sort of hardened by the ages, I suppose. Makes her look a bit more tired, but also a lot more realistic. So I hope you like seeing her. We'll get her down onto the tracks now, and we'll see what she's capable of pulling. Okay, let's do it. Alright, so there she is then, the beautiful LMS Crab, number 42942, BR number of course, ready to have her slow performance test, and I'll get on with that in just a second. But first I'll show you what she's going to be coupling up to, and I went with freight this time. She's got my rake of 5 LMS milk wagons, as well as the brake van on the back there, so hopefully she'll look quite nice with those. And on the other track I went with a passenger locomotive, so of course we've got the lovely Patriot, number 5541, and her name is the Duke of Sutherland, and she's got some coaches, so passenger stuff. 4 coaches there, lovely LMS corridor coaches, and hopefully you'll enjoy seeing those. But first of all, let's get this crab up and running then, and she has been warming up this past few minutes, so we'll see how she runs at slow speed. Now, she is parked exactly on top of a point there, and that was sort of intentional just to see how she manages it, and because she's not got any pickups in the tender, of course, it's just the 6 on the loco. So yeah, let's see what happens. A little bit of slow speed. I'm not sure what direction she's set in, hopefully forwards. Nothing. Let's give her a nudge. There we go. She's going backwards. It's not actually that good on the point. Hang on, let me move the camera across a little bit. There we go, let's bring her in there. There we are, much better. And as you can see, that is a very nice, gentle crawl. Let's go backwards before she leaves the shot. But don't forget, this is, you know, more than 10 years old. And that, for the age, is absolutely a brilliant crawl. Let's take a close-up of some of that valve gear and such. Yeah, fantastic. But you have to be careful not to do it over points, because as you see, she doesn't do too well over them. And I suppose later versions of the model will have the pickups in the tender as well, which should correct that problem. Alright, well, let's send her off again then, and let's get her to couple up to that freight, and let's watch her pull them. So here we go. A bit of juice there. There we go, hopefully she's got them. And there she goes. Well, not goes yet, but yep, there she is. Looking very, very nice. And of course, the wagons look a lot more pristine than she does, because of course they're not weathered. But yep, that's not bad at all. Let's get her to take those away then. I can't remember whether I've changed direction or not. Oh, okay, she hasn't got them. Hang on. I might need to couple this by hand then, hang on. Pop that in. Yes, it's because we're going from the decoupling to the slimline coupling, so it won't really like that too much. And I've managed to derail the wagon too, which was not very smart of me. Hang on. Okay, I've wrestled with the coupling and I've finally managed to get it in. So here she goes. There we go. And as you can see, absolutely no problem at all pulling those. And let's get this Patriot up and running then at a nice express speed. Let's see if we can do a gentle start this time. Yep, very nice. Okay, let's get her up to speed then. And let's watch them both run, shall we? Beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely gorgeous. Go. And when the Patriot finally appears, hopefully she'll be moving a little bit more quickly because I've sped her up. But yeah, she's got a little bit of an issue. She has got a bit of motor trouble, whereas the motor will smoke if she hasn't run for a while. So I've contacted Bachmann to see if they'll get me a new motor, but for the time being she seems alright. I've just squirted oil on there and cleaned it, and it seems to be alright. Well, do you think she looks like she's scuttling then? I don't know. Alright, so here goes the ratings then for the Hughes Crab, and I must admit I was very, very impressed by this one. I thought the detail was fantastic, especially when you consider that it's, you know, it's not the freshest locomotive in the world, it's getting on a bit, but the detail is still absolutely brilliant, I think. So 9 out of 10 there. Similarly, performance, 9 out of 10. She's got a lot of weight to her, the motor in there seems great, and she's got plenty of pulling power, so really good performance. Character again, 9 out of 10. Of course, even the name of the locomotive is based on the characteristics of her appearance, so really the character has to be very high, doesn't it? But yeah, 9 out of 10, fantastic character. Build quality as always with Bachmann, 10 out of 10. I've never had anything pop off it, nothing's broken, and that's second hand, so that's very impressive. So it's, you know, it's survived more than 10 years without any breakages at all. And similarly, the value, I only paid 60 quid for this one, and it was as new basically. It had been run lightly, but that was all, so really you can't go wrong there. So overall, a very good score, 9 out of 10, fantastic little loco. Well, I say little, they're not always little, are they? But yeah, gorgeous locomotive, and an essential, I think, to the collection. So yep, enjoy her for a bit longer then, we'll see how she gets on. What a lovely pair. I really enjoy running these. The Patriot's just a beauty, isn't she? Always looks good with the coaches, and here comes the Crab now. Also absolutely beautiful. Fantastic job by Bachmann then, as always. Yep, very impressed with that one. Well, that's it then everybody. I hope you enjoyed seeing the Crab. She is very impressive. And if you did enjoy it, please don't hesitate to leave a like or even a comment on the video, because I do love to hear from you. And if you really want to, you can check out the Facebook or Twitter pages, and they're at facebook.com/samstrains or twitter.com/samstrains. It would be lovely to see you on there, but for now, thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you very soon. Cheers everybody.